I'm back. It has been a minute, and I'm going to try my best to not make this long winded. I'm going to try to only talk for about 10 minutes because I got food in the oven. I just got off of work. I'm starving, and I really want to unwind before it gets too late. I don't even know what time it is. Let me see. 5:15. Okay. So today I want to talk about raising your standards and also how to do that. Okay, or at least what I hope will help anybody watching learn how to do that. Now, let me just say that standards are obviously very subjective, and they're going to vary depending on the person and whatever their needs or desires are. We know that. So anything I mention as far as it being my standard or my requirement or my expectation, please don't think that you have to listen to a word I'm saying when it comes to that. That's just me. Now, first and foremost, I think we all need to understand how important it is that when you are trying to raise your standards one way or another, it has to start with you. Like, it just has to. You are literally the starting point of everything in your life changing and leveling up, for lack of a better word. I'm going to give you a little bit of a story time, and then we're going to kind of segue into why it's important that you start with you. So I have become friends with a coworker of mine, and we talk more at work than we do outside of work, but we do have conversations outside of work, and we've tried to make plans to get together, and then something happens. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Either way, this girl has opened up a lot to me, and I know that she is at a place in her life where she is ready for love, like so ready for love. And I think that she would make a great partner, a great wife, all of that. But I realized something about her the other day, and I had to address it with her. She met a few people through online dating, and one of them was like adamant, like, I'm ready to see you. Let's meet up. Let's go to a cigar lounge, yada, yada, yada. He even called her, I think, like the night before. Now, when she told me about their conversation the night before, I didn't realize that she was talking about this particular person. So my initial thought was, I don't think that this is the right guy for you. It sounds like he's trying to tell you what he's getting ready to set you up for without telling you that he's going to be the one to do it. But you can't make decisions for other people. So, I just support her and tell her to have fun. Well, before we hung up the phone, I told her, I wished her well. And I said, yeah, go take your nap so you can get up and get beautified and get ready for your date tonight. No, I'm not doing all of that. I'm just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. He can see me cute later. I was like, what? You've not even met him before. This is literally his first impression of you and your first impression of him. What do you mean he can see you cute later? He may not want to see you cute later. So I convinced her to put on something else. I was like, you have got to look good. You need to put your makeup on. You need to make sure you smell good. Put your wig on, whatever you're going to do with your hair, and put a nice outfit on. You're going to a cigar lounge. That's already a masculine environment. It's probably mostly going to be men. And you need to walk up in there looking like a sexy ass woman. I just straight up told her that. Hopefully she listened. But you cannot go into a first date with somebody, and think that when they see you like that, they're going to actually think that you are somebody. I am sorry. Some people are not going to like this, but it just is what it is. Now, it really does depend on the kind of man you're dealing with. But let's face it, most men, even though they don't want the maintenance of a bougie woman or a woman that is high maintenance herself and her appearance and her life in general, they may not be able to keep up with that maintenance, but a lot of men want to experience that. And they also are quite fascinated by it. Now, it may not be fun for them after a while because they know they can't keep up with it, but that's not your problem. Okay? When you go out, you have no idea if you're going to run into another man elsewhere. You might be getting in the car. He ain't already gone. Who knows? You might want to go somewhere else afterwards. And then you meet a really nice guy and you're going to go out looking like you do and you run to the Dollar Tree to get toilet paper. I don't think so. So anyway, the point I'm making is when you are looking to raise your standards and decide what your expectations versus requirements are, because they are two totally different things, it starts with you. I get up every single day like it's brushing my teeth, and I put makeup on. I make sure, my hair looks nice. I make sure I smell good. I wear jewelry, everything. And the people that I take care of in my occupation don't have a clue who I am. They don't even remember me because they've been under anesthesia. But it doesn't matter. Because when they wake up and they see me, whether they remember me or not, I want them to see a nice face. I want them to feel like, oh, wow, she put herself together, so she's going to provide good care to me because she actually cares about herself. I want that. It's the same thing with men. You step to a man on a first date, or whatever you want to call it, however you want. You meet a man. You meet up with a man on a first date. And he sees you in something that you wear around the house. You wear when you're going for a walk outside. Not like you look like you're ready for a date. What do you think he's going to do with you? Like, seriously, what do you think he's going to think of you? He's going to think, oh, she don't require much, so I can handle this. Meanwhile, you may require a lot. But what happens is when they look at you and they don't think that you require much, they start giving you the bare minimum. And that might feel okay for a minute because you ain't even had that much in a while. But after some time, you're going to be looking at him like, what's up? When are you going to step it up a little bit? But he met you when you were in your jeans and t-shirt on a first date. He's not going to think that you're one of them. He's just not. Now, when we're talking the difference between expectations and reality, look at expectations like a fantasy or an idea that you have about something or somebody. And look at your requirements like non-negotiables. So anything that you know is a deal breaker for you, that's a requirement. And that's the word you need to use. People say, well, I just expected. Well, don't expect anything other than maybe, like, expectations are, there's too much wiggle room for compromising. So if you're willing to compromise on certain things, that's an expectation. If you're not, and you know you're not, that's a requirement. So, okay, let's break it down. When you're getting to know me, it is required that you talk to me. All this texting shit, I can't do it. I won't do it. I'm bored. I'm not engaging with you. I don't like that. So if I'm dealing with a man, or if I've met a man and he asks me for my number and he never picks up the phone to actually call me to hear my voice and have a real conversation with me, then we don't have anything to talk about. That's a requirement. Okay? It's also a requirement that as a man, you're romantic towards me. You have to be, because I'm into that. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like a lady. It makes me feel like a girl when a man is demonstrating, romantic gestures towards me. Now, let me kind of tell you the difference between what is required versus what is an expectation. Now, I've already said you are required to talk to me on the phone. I expect to hear from you 3 or 4 times a week. There's 7 days in a week, 3 or 4 times a week, talking on the phone, 10, 15 minutes at a time, maybe a little bit more if it's one of those days. I don't think that's unreasonable. But you have to still put the work and the effort in one way or another. So do I expect it to be every single day that we talk on the phone? No, but I do require it to be multiple times a week. Do I expect us to sit on the phone, the same amount of time or long periods of time every time we talk? No, but you are required to have conversation with me. Now, I spoke on romance. You are required to be a romantic man because that makes me happy. Do I expect you to, every single solitary time I see you, you're doing something romantic for me? No, I don't. I like surprises. I prefer surprises. So if you start coming every day that you see me with something, I'm going to appreciate it and I love it and I'm never going to turn it down. But it hits a little bit differently when it's a surprise, when it's out of nowhere. So my expectation is not that every time you see me, you do something romantic, but it is a requirement that you are a romantic person regularly. And those do not always have to be monetary valued gifts or gestures or whatever. Okay. So do you see where I'm going with this? We can even take it a step further. When you're in school, you are required to pass standardized testing. You're required to have a certain amount of attendance, class participation. You're required to turn your homework in, maintain a certain GPA. All of those things are required in order for you to pass. Hold on. Let me go check on my food. Hold on. Okay, sorry. I'm almost done here. So, in order for you to pass school, graduate, get your diploma, your degree, whatever it is, you have to meet these certain requirements. Now, the expectation is that you do above average in order to accomplish this. So, oh my goodness. So you are not going to be able to come in and do less than the requirements are and still expect to pass and graduate. Now, do you have to meet these teachers and whoever else's expectations of making all A's or whatever the case may be? No. You're just required to do what they tell you you're required to do so you can get up out of there. It's the same thing. So just try to remember that. Think about when you're dating, when you meet somebody, think about him passing standardized tests. Think about, or passing high school, college, whatever the case may be. Think about what your requirements are in order for him to pass with you. And then there's nothing wrong with having expectations. Again, expectations are, how we compromise. We leave a little bit of wiggle room. Everything don't have to be so rigid all the time. So, when you're deciding which one is which, just think about what is ultimately going to make you happy and what's not going to make you happy, what's not going to keep you happy. And then think about things that are simply, it'd be nice, but I'm good with this too. Decide what's what, okay? And I promise you will be a lot less disappointed when you're out here dating. I promise you will. Because you're not going in thinking this guy is going to do, or this girl, whatever your preference is, you're not going in thinking that they're going to do any of these things. You're saying if they don't, they got to go. Or I'm just not going to engage or, entertain them. I'm not going to engage with, and I'm not going to entertain them if they don't do these things. Now, it'd be cool if they did these things right here, but, it is what it is if it's not exactly like that. Just start there, okay? And whatever you do before you meet up with somebody, and I feel like this kind of goes without saying, but I don't care how casual it is. I don't care if you don't have either one, expectations or requirements for this person. I don't care. As a woman especially, but men too. But as a woman especially, make sure when you meet up with somebody, do not say, he can see me looking better later or whatever the case may be. And I'm going to tell you something else that you don't need to do. I'm just throwing this in for free. When you meet somebody and you are wanting to spend some time with them, get to know them, talk to them, but they haven't asked you out on a date, you need to find you somebody else. Because as soon as you open your mouth and invite him over, or as soon as he opens his mouth and invites you over, and either one of you accept that and you go to his place or you let him come to yours, you're never getting a date, okay? Now, never is a strong word, but 9 times out of 10, you're not getting a date. Once you start letting that man come over to your house before he's really proven to you that he knows how to court you properly, nine times out of 10, most likely, you ain't going backwards. You're already going backwards, starting out with that. So I just threw that in there for fun. All right, I'm going to go eat and enjoy what's left of my evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.